Park at Arlington, interleague play continues with a rematch between the Rockies and the Rangers. The question, can it be any wilder than their two meetings last month in Colorado? In their first meeting, Ellis Burks touched up John Wetland for a three-run game-tying home run in the bottom of the ninth. But Juan Gonzalez rescued the Rangers with a home run of his own in the 11th. The next day, Wetland served up another game-tying homer, this time to Andres Galarraga. When Wetland later walked in the winning run to end the game, the Rangers' nightmare was complete. Tonight, the Rangers and the Rockies battle again on ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball. Baseball continues here on ESPN. The Colorado Rockies of the National League and the Texas Rangers from the American League. For Darn Baylor's club, still the opportunity to take that title. They've got a chance to pick a full game up today on the Giants, who lost earlier this afternoon. They'll be trying to do that tonight against Texas. For Johnny Oates, a ball club that is struggling. They won their division title last season. A disastrous June for them has put them behind the 8 ball. Hello, everybody. I'm Gary Thorne, along with Dave Campbell. Last year for the Texas Rangers in first place all but 4 days of the season. Not this year, Dave. The offense is not the same as last year.
Well, they haven't got it to the top of the order, and also they've really gotten killed lately, especially in the numbers 5 and 6 spots. Will Clark and Dean Palmer have not hit with men in scoring position. Clark only has 26 RBIs on the year, and he's not even going to start tonight. But for Juan Gonzalez, he's starting to hit the ball. Gonzalez has hit 4 home runs in his last 4 games. He may have something to prove tonight. He did not make the American League All-Star game.
That'll usually fire up a good ball player. For Colorado, a club that won only 28 games on the road last year, they have already won 20 this year.
Well, Larry Walker has certainly been a big part of that. We know he's having a brilliant year, but on the road, he's hit 16 of his 25 home runs. Last year, he couldn't buy a hit on the road, so he's really fueled that. The mystery for Colorado is why they can't win at home like they did last year.
All right, we'll see whether or not they can get it done on the road here in Texas tonight as we're set for interleague play. The Texas Rangers and the Colorado Rockies, the whole idea to bring stars together, like Andres Galarraga and Larry Walker to meet Pudge Rodriguez and Juan Gonzalez. Wednesday Night Baseball's got him next.
ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball is brought to you by Just for Men, the leader in men's hair coloring. Blends away gray in 5 minutes. And by Adidas.
Welcome back to Arlington, Texas, everybody. A beautiful summer evening here in Texas. Temperature will be up near that 90-degree mark as we start this ball game at the ballpark. One of baseball's great new homes, this one belonging to the Rangers. But for the month of June, a disaster for them. 10 and 17 in June. It was the worst June for any American League team.
Yeah, and the Rangers have had problems over the history of their franchise in August with the heat, but this was kind of unusual. On June 1st, they were leading. Since then, the Mariners have gained 11 games on them as we look at the standings today. That 10 and 17 mark, while the Mariners went 20 and 7 in the month of June.
Well, that is a month that has really hurt these Texas Rangers. They hope July will not be the same, and they'll try and pick it up again. They've got a guy on the mound who they need to cut down on all kinds of numbers. We'll see whether or not he can get that done in tonight's game. Won't be easy to do against this Nextel Rockies lineup. You've got Eric Young leading it off. He'll be at second base. Quentin McCracken. Your big middle, Larry Walker, Andres Galarraga, Dante Bichette, Vinny Castilla, all with power. Jeff Reed's hot at the plate. John Vanderwall gets to be the DH in this game, and Walt Weiss will be at shortstop. Walker, big numbers against John Burkett.
John Burkett, a control artist. He's given up 156 hits in only 108 innings, but he has walked 18. He is a winner, though. 97 and 73 lifetime. He works both sides of the plate.
Amazing numbers for John Burkett, 32 years old. Everything has gone up. The most hits given up in the American League and the highest batting average of any major league pitcher by his opponents against him. 338. Mercy. Burkett has had a long year already. What he needs is a strong second half. Eric Young leads it off and takes a strike. Good to have you with us, and we're underway.
A little bit like Bob Tewksbury with the Minnesota Twins. He is a finesser, but if he's hitting his spots, he can win.
Young, 7 for his last 21, has been hot at the plate for this Colorado team. John Burkett saying before the game, I said, John, is it that the backdoor stuff just doesn't work? And he said, he put his hands out and he said, you know, last year it was like an inch. This year, it's like 3 inches, and that 3 inches puts me over the middle of the plate, and that's where I'm getting killed.
Well, I just wonder if it's got a little bit to do with the American League strike zones versus the National League, where he spent most of his career.
John Burkett delivering. Young, it lashes that one towards the gap in right center field. This ballpark is an extra base hit park in that 381 well. More triples here than anywhere else, and this one to third is an opening game triple. You had just seen Arlington, the ballpark. Triples here predominate extra base hits.
Well, for John Burkett, once again, he got a slider out over the plate, and as we look at Gonzalez having to chase it, it goes into that little alcove, bounces around, and Eric Young with good speed. You knew he was going to get at least 3 out of this.
So an opening triple, and that is going to be the 6th triple of the season for Eric Young. And with the very first batter, John Burkett's in trouble. An asymmetrical ballpark built like many of the old yards back at the turn of the century, where you get those kind of corners. They're great for fans. They are disastrous for outfielders and sometimes pitchers. Strike taken by Quentin McCracken.
One thing the Rockies did today, as has been their want this year, whenever they visit a ballpark for the first time in the 1997 season, they come out and have an early workout to get used to the field conditions. It was only about 100 degrees down there, but they went through their paces anyway.
Well, you got to do that to get used to the ballpark in Arlington. If it's not 100 degrees, you're not going to get used to it. That's the way it is here.
Yeah, we look at a guy right now, it still amazes me, Pudge Rodriguez. He catches 145 to 150 games every year in this stifling heat. He's young, but boy, it seems though it'd have to take its toll.
Quentin McCracken at RBI opportunity. Palmer and Stevens have moved in at first and third here, and the strike on the outside corner. A good off-speed pitch. They'll try and cut this run off if they can at the corners. So Dean Palmer at third base and Stevens over at first. They'll try and hold Young, who has outstanding speed at third base. They do not want to give up early runs here. Larry Walker, the big slugger, on deck. And the delivery way up high. Just let that one go and get away from him.
McCracken did a good job last year filling in when Larry Walker had the broken collarbone. This year, now he's trying to fill in for Ellis Burks for 2 weeks, who's on the DL with a groin pull problem.
McCracken is a switch hitter. 2-2 count to him. Nobody out. Runner at third. Fastball by Burkett misses inside, and he's gone full, 3-2.
And that's exactly what you're talking about. John Burkett, only 18 walks, but usually when he gets 2-2, he tries to deliver the knockout blow on that pitch, and he just barely missed on McCracken.
Fastball, slider, curve, and occasional split-fingered pitch used by Burkett, but control. 3-2. It'll get a run in. Played there by McLemore over to first base. It'll be an RBI for Quentin McCracken, and Eric Young, who led this ball game off with a triple, is the first run across the plate, and the Rockies have the 1-0 lead. 21st RBI for McCracken. Greer, Buford, and Gonzalez defensively in the outfield. Palmer, Cedeno, McLemore, and Stevens on the infield. Rodriguez and Burkett the battery. And Burkett has cleared the bases, but a run in.
Now, Domingo Cedeno has been swinging the bat well, if you take a look at Walker, but they still might be looking for a shortstop here in Texas.
How about the shortstop of the Colorado Rockies?
Well, it's been rumored for well over 2 weeks.
Walt Weiss by name. Larry Walker takes the strike, the league's leading hitter. Still pounding away as he heads to the All-Star break. He is #1 in the National League, maintaining that .402 average. #1 in home runs at 25. He's 4th in RBIs with 68. Great, incredible numbers for Larry Walker.
Well, you can look at a lot of them, but yesterday Chuck Finley worked him over pretty good, an 0 for 4, and Walker has had very few of those this year.
He has killed Burkett in his career. He's a .409 career hitter against John Burkett. And there's that pitch that misses inside again, a ball and 2 strikes.
Kind of surprised it missed Walker's arm. Larry gets hit by pitches a lot. He turns into the ball. A lot of times it grazes his uniform or hits his arm, but that one just missed.
1-2, and a timeout taken by Walker. Left-handers are hitting an incredible .344 against John Burkett, and right-handers .332. The backdoor slider he uses on left-handers like that has not been working this year, but he gets Walker.
Well, I think Larry was looking away, and Burkett buried it on the inside corner. Look at Rodriguez setting up there. A little swing back right there. That's the pitch that Greg Maddux has made famous, and starts a little bit inside and tails back over the corner.
Through his career, that pitch has made him very successful against left-handers. In fact, prior to this year, Burkett is one of the most difficult right-handers for left-handers to hit, right up there with Maddux. That has all changed this year by the very pitch you saw right there that has not worked for him this year. Andres Galarraga with 2 down, bases empty, and a run in for the Rockies. Cat continues to have the great season. 84 runs batted in. Tops, incredibly, only 11 ahead of Jeff Bagwell, though. But Bagwell would be that close with the numbers that Galarraga is putting up in the RBI department. Testimony to why they're both going to the All-Star game. 1 ball, 1 strike. Foul back. Holds at 1-2.
With the early start here in Arlington, the pitcher is standing in shadows and the center fielder out in sunlight. That is not very conducive for hitters at this point of the day.
Starting 6:30 Arlington time. We thank them for that. 1-2 pitches up high. I'm not sure how much we're thanked by Texas since they got home this morning from Los Angeles at 5 a.m.
Well, for the teams in the Western Division, they play either 28 or 29 2-game series this year, and that has started to take its toll.
This is a 2-game series itself. Popped up in the infield. Second baseman McLemore wants it and puts it away. But a run in on a leadoff triple by Young. Texas coming up. Colorado's got the early lead. RBI picked up on the ground ball out by McCracken, and it is a 1-0 Rockies lead as Texas comes up here on their home turf in this 3rd meeting of the season. There you see the Nextel Rangers lineup. McLemore, Rodriguez, and Greer. Gonzalez with that great home run power. He has picked up 58 RBIs in 56 games played. Stevens starts at first base. Will Clark out of there. Palmer, Tettleton, Cedeno, and Buford.
John Thompson will pitch for the Colorado Rockies tonight. Youngster out of Louisiana, 23 years old. Nearly made the club in spring training. He had a brilliant spring. Last 3 or 4 outings, he has pitched terrific baseball. His last start against the Rangers a couple of weeks ago, he gave up 8 hits facing only 12 batters, so he would like to rectify that. He is the one Rocky starter who holds runners well and gives Jeff Reed, his catcher, a chance to throw somebody out. 4-seamer, 2-seamer, a pretty quick slider. He has a changeup that's a work in progress. Let's take a look at the defense behind him. Bichette in left. McCracken spells Burks, who's on the DL in center. Larry Walker, everybody talks about the 400, but he is playing brilliant defense this year as well. Castilla, brilliant third baseman. Weiss, Young, and Galarraga, Reed catches.
Beautiful ballpark. Very much enclosed. You see how high the structure is out there in the outfield. There's a lot of wind here during the summer. Tremendous thunderstorms come through. They wanted to enclose this ballpark to try and make that wind less of a factor than it was in the old ballpark, which is located not very far from the new one here, a parking lot away.
Trying to fool Mother Nature, huh?
Well, yes. It's worked to some degree. McLemore leads it off here. The pitch is up high. What they find here is that there is a real good wind tunnel that goes to right center field and then tends to circle towards the right field foul line and around the ballpark and out to left. Kind of a strange wind. They have no idea. In fact, they brought the architects in after they opened the ballpark and said, how come we're getting this kind of a wind here? And they said, huh? We don't know. So it adds to the ballpark. McLemore, switch hitter, starts it out with a base hit to center field. So the first hitter on for each team as Thompson gives up a leadoff single.
Obviously, a big thing for the Rangers is getting their leadoff man on. McLemore a year ago at .389 on base percentage. This year comes in at .330. So with him getting on, maybe they can produce more runs.
Boy, they need that. Their number 1 hitter this year, an average of .235 for the guys who've been there, and the number 1 hitter scored only 42 runs for this team. Well, here's the man who keeps them moving. Ivan Rodriguez, 3rd in the league with that .345 batting average. An unusual kind of number 2 hitter because he packs so much power. Might expect him to be down in that lineup a little more than what he is, but they need him up top. They do not have lot of guys who fill the number 1 and 2 slots with the usual kinds of bats that you might anticipate at the major league level.
Fudge also had 47 doubles a year ago, an all-time record for catchers, and he's on that same pace this year with 24. He is, when he first came up, he had the brilliant defense, but he has just made himself an even better hitter. Each year he's gotten better.
He is 6 for 9 against Colorado in the 2 games they played previously at Coors Field. Fouls that one back in the big cut. These 2 teams split games there, and they were barn burners with lots of runs. Texas won 10-8, and Colorado won the other game 10-9. They play a 2-game series here in Texas as part of the interleague play, which including games that were played today. The record now is 56 for the American League, 48 for the National in wins. 0-2 the count, throw over. Pretty good lead over there, built up by McLemore as he was edging it off. He has stolen a couple of bases, caught 5 times. He will be held at first base by Galarraga.
Well, again, Thompson with that quick slide step will give his catcher a chance.
And a chance for 2. Weiss the relay throw and an easy double play. Taylor made the 4-6-3 hit into by Pudge Rodriguez.
Yeah, one of the problems the Rockies have had of recent ilk with their main starters, guys like Swift and Thompson and Jamie Wright gone. The starters who have replaced them have given up that first inning hit, and then they just run wild on them. They steal bases with a high leg kick. John Thompson discourages that and kept the double play in order, and the Rockies turned it over. That's 102. They lead the majors by quite a wide margin in double plays.
And Ivan Rodriguez leads the Rangers in hitting into ground ball double plays. 9th time he's done that. So now there are 2 down, nobody on, and here's Rusty Greer. Greer having another very successful season. He is one of 3 Texas Rangers in the top 10 average-wise. Starting the day at 332, he's 9th. They've got Rodriguez 3rd, and Will Clark, who's not in this game, the 10th leading hitter in the league.
Another surprise, omitted from the American League All-Star team, Rusty Greer.
Got a 1-1 count here, and off the fist.
Well, again, John Thompson in his last 3 starts has really started to attack hitters. He had been a little tentative in some of his earlier starts, and when he's gotten in this mode, he has pitched much better. He hasn't had a lot of wins to show for it, but he is boring the ball in on the left-handed hitter right now.
Texas players who are in the starting lineup have done a pretty good number on Thompson with few at-bats coming into this game. The opportunity to have a look at Thompson and see what they could do against him. 2-2 count here. And that one taken down low. And he goes full on it. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Rusty Greer. Greer finished up with fine numbers last season. 5th in batting average at home. He loved hitting here where he hit .358. This time he's going to go down and start it with an 0 for 1. So after a leadoff single, double play helps Thompson. He faces only 3, no runs, a base hit. Nobody left on. A 1-0 lead after 1 for the Rockies, who have some power coming up when we come back. We're ready to go here in the 2nd inning. Carl will keep us updated on highlights from games played this afternoon and, of course, the ball games that are going on tonight. Dante Bichette leads it off for the Rockies here in the 2nd inning. Bichette, Castilla, and Reed. Bichette 6 for 11 and a home run at Coors Field against Texas in that series. And he takes that pitch 2-0.
Rockies score first. They win 76% of the time when they do that. But the other number to keep an eye on is if they don't score more than 3 runs, they're 1-26 this year.
And you would expect that from the team that's number 1 in about all the offensive categories, average, runs, home runs. But the team ERA is next to last, 13th. So their pitchers need some runs to win.
Do you recall the one game they won?
No.
I think you broadcast it. They beat the Mets 2-1.
Yes, they did.
Larry Walker hit a home run in the 8th inning. Yeah, Thompson's had a little callus that Dave Chilotte's been working on in his last couple of starts, but it hasn't really affected him, so I wouldn't expect it would tonight either.
Keep an eye on it. 3 ball, 1 strike count on Dante Bichette. Hot speed pitch popped up. Rodriguez, Stevens. Rodriguez gets rid of the mask, almost wipes out L. Clark, the home plate umpire. And Bichette is retired on the pop-out, 1 away. Come on, Benny. The catcher's nightmare, to fall over his own mask going after a pop-up. That's why you see them give it a mighty heave when they figured out where the ball is.
And like you said, Al Clark, pretty stout fellow, tough to get around. Some people always say find the ball. I think maybe if you find that umpire and avoid him first, you might be better off.
Vinny Castilla, 20 home runs, 4th best in the league. He's got a 4-game hit streak coming into this one. He has put some good numbers up against John Burkett. Castilla, 1-0 count, 1 down, nobody on. And a strike on the outside corner, down and away, 1-1.
Vinny's had a great month of April, bad May. First half of June was great. And the second half not so good until the last few days. He's starting to get locked in at the plate right now.
And another one popped up behind first base. Lee Stevens back on the outfield grass, and he's got it. And there are 2 down as Castilla is retired. 2 away here in the second inning. First half of our doubleheader on this Wednesday night. The second game, Seattle will be playing at San Diego. Jeff Fassaro, Joey Hamilton, the scheduled starters. Jose Cruz Jr. part of it, and so are Griffey and Gwynn, 2 of the game's best. Coming up, Seattle, San Diego.
Burkett doing what he does best, and that's keep hitters off stride. He has had 3 pop-ups, the last 3 hitters that have come up.
Great numbers, Walker and Gwynn going after that batting title. 2 down here, and the base is empty, and the catcher, Jeff Reed, who has a 6-game hit streak, 5 for 19, 1 home run off Burkett, who shows him a real good changeup, 1-1.
Well, again, Burkett, the art of pitching for John is changing speeds and locating. I mean, yeah, 158 hits in 108 innings, but only 18 walks. I know a lot of pitchers maybe have given up about the same number of hits per innings, but then walked 50 or 60 guys.
1-1 delivery. He will not walk. Thou shalt not. 18 and 108 innings this season, 58 and 222 innings last year. Struck out a career-high 155 for him last season.
Yeah, leads the American League in hits per inning, but also has the fewest walks per 9 of any American League pitcher.
1-2 delivery. That one towards third. Dean Palmer. They've had error problems this year, but he'll make the play on that one. Good inning for John Burkett, who retires the side in order. Colorado remains on top 1-0. Texas with their power. Gonzalez, the home run hitter, when we come back. Both these teams are coming off losses yesterday as Texas lost to Los Angeles 6-3. Colorado beaten by Anaheim 4-1.
Well, this 2-game series, the way they've been playing lately, sure figures to be a split. The Rockies haven't won 2 in a row since June 18th. The Rangers haven't won 2 in a row since June 17th. As you mentioned, the Rangers had that horrible month of June. They had a little 4-game winning streak in the middle, and then everything kind of went south. 7-game losing streak.
So they hope to get on track here and make July a winning month and gain some of that ground. 8 games behind right now. Juan Gonzalez with tremendous power. Home runs right now, 18th. Ties him for 9th with Albert Bell coming into today's play, and he is 10th in runs batted in.
Not bad for a guy who didn't start his season until May 1st. Missed the entire month of April.
That is one of the ironies that Texas would get off to a decent start this year without him, and then when he got back and would seemingly be at his best, they lose.
You look at the numbers over the years, when he's been on the DL, the Rangers have had a better record. They have had less runs scored, but for whatever statistical reason, they have a better record without him in the lineup. But I think they just soon have him in there.
Yeah, his chances are pretty good. Great pitch by Thompson on the inside corner, 23-year-old right-handed rookie. Showing some stuff here as he's rocking that ball inside, outside, and down low. A 2-ball, 1-strike count to Gonzalez.
Well, he's out of Louisiana, so the heat shouldn't bother him. He pitched a complete game down at Florida, a late afternoon start, so stamina should not be a problem for John today.
2-1 delivery, and he's right there in that inside corner. Gonzalez does not like Al Clark's strike zone right now as he has turned on the last 2 to argue about it.
Well, as Carl Yastrzemski used to say, always argue the inside strike, because the big guys always want to get their arms extended. Almost every big slugger in baseball, if you can pound them in, you're going to get them out.
And no exception, of course, Gonzalez with that power. He loves to get the arms out there. Thompson delivering. Fastball, that one to right field. Walker backing up. See it carry. on the warning track and hauls it in. That's that shoot we were talking about out there in right center field.
Larry took one step in and all of a sudden got a read on it and got footed it back. But when Larry Walker gets a beat on a ball, you're out. He is as graceful an outfielder as you're going to find in the game.
And we like him because he likes hockey.
Well, as Don Baylor often says, in one-sided games in April and May, sometimes he has to get Larry out of there so he can go in and watch the hockey on TV. Otherwise, he's going to end up getting mad at his manager.
He's a good guy. I like him a lot. One down, base is empty. That one's going to be a base hit. Stevens puts that one through. Lee Stevens starting at first base in this game for Will Clark, who, while he's had an average, not had much production.
Yeah, just going back to Juan Gonzalez and that line drive he hit to right. I mean, that was a pretty good pitch by John Thompson, a slider low and away. But as Johnny Oates was quoted as saying the last couple of days, when Gonzalez is going opposite field hitting line drives, that's when he's starting to get hot. And he has hit 4 homers in the last 4 games.
Runner on at first base, and it will bring up Dean Palmer. Dean Palmer, the third baseman, who's got power, has trouble staying healthy and playing every game during the season. They really don't think he can play every game and be as productive as they would like him to be. Trouble is, they don't have anyone to come in and play for him. He just has to kind of see it through here. Johnny Oates has said he really can't play every game at third and be effective. He thinks that's one of the reasons he's struggling at the plate right now, particularly when he's had a chance to bring RBIs in and has not gotten it done.
John Thompson right now is living on that inside corner with the fastball. And if he can stay there, and we saw John Burkett, he certainly had an effective second inning changing speed. So we'll see how this one plays out.
Palmer 3 for 11 against the Rockies in the first 2 games. 1-1 count on him here. Runner at first. Turned that one over, down and in. Misses inside. 2-ball, 1 strike count on Palmer. Texas has been able to get the base runners on for much of the season, but getting them home has been another story. They've got Mickey Tettleton back now. He'll be doing the DHing tonight, waiting in the on-deck circle. There's Tettleton, switch hitting catcher, first baseman, outfielder. Veteran who's been around with a number of teams and valuable for all the reasons above mentioned.
Rangers last in the American League in stolen bases. Stevens not a runner.
And Palmer, the slow roll it is short. Walt Weiss goes to second. They get McCracken there, and that will be it. Play made at second on Stevens to get him out of there. It'll be a fielder's choice, though. Runner on at first. Elsewhere, let's check in with Carl Ravitch. Carl?
Hi, Gary, and they're checking for a pulse with the White Sox, facing the Pirates, who beat them 3-1 the other night, 3-zip last night, and here come the Bucks again. Dale Swam against his old team. He's been hitting .290, 6 homers, 20 RBI, and playing a solid third base. They're up 1-zip.
Joe Randa broke his pinky finger, the Pirates' third baseman, last weekend, and Dale Swam's getting the playing time. He is having a spectacular year.
I'll tell you, the Pirates continue to be an amazing story. They lost 6 in a row about a week and a half ago, but they're bouncing right back.
Mickey Tettleton up, runner on at first base. 2 down now. Thompson with that high set. Fastball misses down low. Tettleton in as the designated hitter. He still has some good power in that bat. He can drive a baseball. Oh, he is dangerous when he's up there. He's had only 16 game appearances and only 41 at-bats because of injuries this year, and getting back in for Texas here.
6 knee operations for Tettleton, and he and Johnny Oates have been talking an awful lot. At one time, Tettleton thought maybe I ought to just hang it up, but Mickey said, one thing about John Oates, I have such great respect for him. If he tells me I'm through, I will not say one thing other than thank you for the opportunity. Right now, Tettleton only hitting .098.
2-0 count on him here, and the pitch is a fastball on the outside corner, and he's keeping it down low again. 2-ball, 1 strike count.
Oates also was quoted as saying, in all my years in baseball, I admire Mickey Tettleton along with maybe 3 other guys more than any other player. But what he brings to the table, his attitude, and the way he attacks his job.
Well, 14 years at the major league level. Tettleton got into that one. Deep to right field. Will it stay fair? Way back and drifting over. And it is a foul ball. It is a very short porch. It was caught. Sorry. Got it. I lost him and did not see him. Disappeared into the corner over there, but Larry Walker came up with the ball. Sorry about that, folks. We lost track of him. Nice play. See if we got another angle when we come back. Well, nobody saw it, actually, except the fans out there and Larry Walker. Fly ball to right. We thought we were in Fenway Park again, where that right field corner tends to get hidden. That's what happened over there on the fly ball up by Tettleton. He got it. It is a short porch down each line here. It gets out in a hurry. But when those outfielders head over there into the corners, they disappear in this asymmetrical park. And the breaking ball misses to John Vanderwall, who leads it off to Colorado here in the third inning. Vanderwall's the designated hitter for the Rockies here in the American League Park. Of course, the DH rule is in effect.
I don't think Don Baylor's a huge advocate of the DH and American League style of play, but this does give him an opportunity to get Vanderwall, his top pinch hitter, some at-bats. John doesn't get very many over the course of the year.
6 for 30 as a pinch hitter this season. Missed that one. 2-ball, 1-strike count as Burkett showing a lot of the off-speed pitches here in the opening innings of this game.
Well, he has to. He has to paint on the corners and change speeds because he isn't going to top 88, 89 on the radar gun.
And another great turnover off-speed delivery at Vanderwall way out in front of it. 2-ball, 2-strike count. Now Burkett 5 and 7, but in this game he's got some folks way out in front of him. 2-2 delivery. And the fastball back inside misses.
What wonderful pitching, though. 2 change-ups, 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Then he tries to burn him fastball in. Perfect pitch selection. He just missed.
So the 3-2 delivery to Vanderwall, and he misses on that one inside. And there is a rare occurrence, a John Burkett free pass.
Yeah, and he went to the changeup. He had such confidence in it. He had thrown it for a strike on 2-0 and 2-1, but he missed that time.
So the leadoff man on for the second of 3 innings for Colorado. Clint Hurdle, the first base coach of the Rockies, talking with Vanderwall, with Walt Weiss, the number 9 hitter, coming to the plate.
I think Clint Hurdle said, see that guy back there behind the plate, that guy they call Pudge? He likes to pick guys off, man. He said, don't get too far off the base.
Pudge Rodriguez will throw to any base at any time. Walt Weiss takes the strike, looking for bunt. Dean Palmer was cheating in at third base. A 1-0 lead for the Rockies on a triple leading off the ball game for Young. Came home a ground ball out. RBI went to McCracken. Walt Weiss, the man we were talking about earlier, shortstop, who Texas had and still has an interest in. But unlikely they're going to be able to get him. They come and work a deal. And stayed outside to him and missed with it. 1-1.
Nope, Doug Melvin, the general manager of the Rangers, and Bob Gebhardt, general manager of the Rockies, did share dinner tonight. I don't know if that means anything or not.
They'll say it means they shared dinner.
Yeah.
But the discussions are going on, obviously, with teams that need some help, as Texas does. Kevin Elster gone. Traded away. There was Pudge trying to throw it. Gets away. The runner was diving back in, so nowhere to go. Well, Al Clark helped out that time, as Vanderwall probably could have taken off and gone, but he was diving back into the bag. When Rodriguez tried to throw it, he hit the umpire.
Look at Pudge getting ready to explode out of there. Well, Pudge just lost it. And then it hit Clark and rolled away, but Vanderwall was still on his belly and couldn't see the ball roll away.
Now that's respect for a catcher's arm. He was diving back in before Rodriguez came up and even began to throw the ball. He's throwing them out at a 45% clip, base stealers. Almost double the average. And the breaking ball missed inside, a slider. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Walt Weiss, runner on, nobody else.
Talking to Don Baylor a couple of weeks ago when the Rockies were getting ready to play Texas the first time, I said, what'd you tell your base runners? He said, I didn't tell them anything. I just gave Clint Hurdle, the first base coach, a lasso and said, stay close.
With all that power, you want them on there for home runs. Missed outside. These are the problems Burkett's had this season as the murmurings began here at the ballpark. And the count goes full again, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Rockies usually run in this kind of a situation. They have an automatic run unless you see the stop sign. So if Weiss doesn't put it in play and strikes out, we may get a chance to see Rodriguez's arm.
Quick throw. That was close. Larry Barnett, the first base umpire.
Well, Barnett, a veteran, and Vanderwall is going to go, but his job there is not to get picked off. You're not stealing a base. You're not going to outrun Pudge Rodriguez anyway, so make sure the pitcher goes to the plate before you go.
That was close. 3-2. Runner goes. Breaking ball, and Walt Weiss just hanging in, fouls it off. Vanderwall will come back to first base.
One of the few things I did well as a player was run bases, but there were a couple of guys that just struck terror in me. One was Johnny Bench, and the other one was Steve Yeager with the Dodgers. I mean, I was a very aggressive base runner, but those guys curbed your aggressiveness a great deal.
Boy, Rodriguez will get you leaning back the other way every time. I mean, just every year that arm was. Runner goes again. Walt Weiss fouls that one off. Rodriguez was at 49% last year in catching base stealers, 45% again this year, and that doesn't include his pickoffs at other bases.
Yeah, and the other thing about Pudge, I mean, you notice right there, 2 straight pitches to Walt Weiss, change-ups. He's not afraid to throw it, call it change-up. He still knows he's going to throw Vanderwall out, even with a change.
Walt Weiss hanging in on a couple of off-speed pitches. Count is 3-2, nobody out. Vanderwall with a leadoff walk at first base. And again, the quick throw by Burkett. Base stealers are 6 out of 15 have been caught stealing with Burkett on the mound. You have a guy like Rodriguez catching. Generally, if there are stolen bases against you as a pitcher, it's usually against you. 3-2, runner goes, swung on a miss. A strike him out, throw him out, double play. Vanderwall dead meat for Pudge Rodriguez, and there are 2 down.
I think Pudge's only worry there was he had so much time, he was afraid maybe he would aim it, but he delivered his usual strike. Vanderwall, not much of a jump, but you're not supposed to in that situation, and when Weiss can't draw it, you are O-U-T.
So that quickly takes care of the base runners. 2 down, nobody on, and Young, who had the triple his first time up and has scored the lone run of the ball game, stands in. There's Rodriguez and the numbers leading the majors the last 2 years and leading them again this year. Strike on the outside corner by Burkett.
Well, Walker and Vanderwall are best of friends from their days in Montreal. I'm sure Larry's saying to Vandy. Look at Vandy's face, a little bit red from this heat down here.
That one hit in the air. It's lost in the sun, going to the corner. Ball will bounce off the wall. Greer had no idea where that ball had gone. He was looking straight up in the sun, and he did not react until the ball hit the corner wall, and a double for Young, who's now got a triple and a double in the game. Elsewhere, Kyle Ravitch.
Hi, we fellas are talking about shortstops and Texas's need for one. How about this play? Gonzalez gets show to his right. Take another look. What we call full extension. Every part of the body off the ground. He takes a hit away from Chris Widger. Toronto's also got some decisions to make, too. Fellas?
He's got to figure out, hey, where's the ball? Well, that's a tough play. That sun was right in his eyes coming over the top of the stadium here.
Well, one of the things the Rockies have been fighting the last couple of years, and it happened the other day, is first base. Andres Galarraga the other day, a throw came from Walt Weiss. Galarraga actually ran down the right field line ducking because he never saw it. But we're starting a regular hour early here, so we're not used to these conditions.
Runner on at second base and 2 down. Eric Young with a double, his 20th two-bagger of the year. McCracken, who got an RBI with a ground ball out his first time up, and now has 21 on the season, has an RBI opportunity here.
No disrespect for Quentin McCracken, but when you come with Eric Young, Ellis Burks, Walker, Galarraga, Bichette, and Castillo, you got the best 6 in a row in baseball.
And that pitch is going to be taken down low as well. 2 balls and 1 strike. It is an offensive machine.
Hey, the Mariners can run 4 up there if Alex is hitting second. Alex Jr., Edgar Martinez, and Jay Buhner. And Sorrento hasn't done too bad, but the Rockies can run 6 guys up and can hurt you.
Kraken's put up good numbers with runners in scoring position this season at 341. This Colorado team, as you would expect, as you take a look at Ellis Burks, 309 as a team with runners in scoring position. That's why they not only get them on, they get them home. that problem Texas has had. 2-2 delivery with 2 down, and he's gone. Burkett comes in with 1 at the knees on the inside corner. McCracken called out, 3 strikeouts for Burkett, no runs, a double, and a runner left on. Rockies leading at 1-0. Rockies have the 1-0 lead early on. We mentioned Texas struggling offensively, almost a run per game less than they had last year. Certainly one of the reasons the players not here, including Kevin Elster, who had 99 RBIs last season. Unfortunately for Pittsburgh and Elster, which is where Elster went, he is back on the DL. Texas, though, has really missed his bat. He's not the only one. Hamilton last year did it, too.
Yeah, Darrell Hamilton in that leadoff spot.
They don't have those two this year, and it has showed in the numbers that aren't there. .250, 4 home runs, 25 RBIs from those who have played shortstop for the Rangers this season.
Yeah, and today's the halfway mark for the Rangers. This is their 81st game.
Domingo Cedeno to short. Walt Weiss. 1 down. 1 away here in the 3rd inning. Let's check in with Carl Ravitch. Carl?
All right, well, the Rockies, if they're not going to catch the Giants, they have to think wild card, so they're going to have to think about the Marlins. Texas thinking about shortstops. Here's one. Renteria drops one in. It played 2. 2 RBI tonight. He's had 2 in his last 15 games prior to this, and the Marlins are up 3-1. Fellas?
A mighty struggle for the Red Sox. Marlins not doing what everybody, including their ownership, had hoped for, but nevertheless very much in that race in the East in the National League. 1 strikeout on Damon Buford, who's batting in the number 9 spot. He's gone from the leadoff batter to the number 9 spot in the lineup. He is struggling mightily at the plate. Fouls that one off, and he's quickly down on the count 0-2. See that 208 average. There's a running dispute going on between the coaching staff and Buford. Buford wants to put the ball in the air and hit line drives. Coaching staff wants him to hit more ground balls and try and take advantage of his speed. 0-2 delivery. Fouled off.
Talking to Peter Pasquarelli, who does the research for us, he tells us that Buford has only tried 2 bunts this year, and we heard he was an excellent bunter in spring training, so he's not taking advantage of the weapons he has.
Well, Damon Buford got taken out of that leadoff spot as soon as McLemore was ready to come back. And he fouls that one off, and you can see by his cut, he is trying to put the ball in the air.
Well, he appears to me to be waiting much too long. He's not starting his hands back, and you know, Quentin McCracken of the Rockies is doing that right now too. Greg Vaughn with the Padres. You can't go forward unless you go back, and he's very late on his swings.
0-2 count here, 1 down. Timeout taken by Buford, and Al Clark granted it, so no pitch. Thompson in the windup just followed through and let her rip.
Yeah,
it was Bob Gibson, and you did that to him. The next shot would be between the ribs 8 and 9.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We don't see that anymore in the game, however.
Well, once in a great while.
Yeah.
There's a couple of guys.
Yeah. Here's the 0-2 delivery, and the slider misses.
Theory in hitting is you want to wait on the pitch as long as you can. The longer you look, the better shot you have. But if you don't have your hands in a hitting position, you can't do anything with it once you recognize it.
And he gets out and around that one, but fouls it off. It remains a ball and 2 strikes on Buford.
I mean, of all the theories that Merv Rettenman preaches, the batting coach of the San Diego Padres, and of course Tony Gwynn, the perfect example, he always has his hands in the proper position. So when he does swing, he gets the bat hit there.
1-2, and there's one of those that'll see how deep into the kitchen you can get without hitting the back wall. Get in there pretty good. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 count, 1 down, nobody on. 1-0 lead. Rockies got the run in the 1st inning. Thompson's pitch off the fist to second base. That'll make the charge. That ball had some spin on it. Fans thought he had beat it out. Not so. Good play made that time at second base by Young.
Well, again, anybody that starts their bat late is going to get jammed on anything inside. I mean, this one is, look where he gets hit. Right about the trade marker below, and he almost beat it out because it was hit so slowly. Only chance you have when you start the bat late is on pitches down and hanging breaking balls out over the plate. You're not going to hit good fastballs in or even on the inner half of the plate if you're starting your hands late.
The Thompson's got 2 down here. McLemore, a single his first time up. An 11-game hit streak for him is career high, equaling it. He'll go 1 for 2, though, as Young makes the play over. McLemore out. Good inning for Thompson. 1, 2, 3. And the power of the Rockies will be coming up when we come back, including Andres Galarraga.
ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball is brought to you by Best Buy. Just the store you've been shopping for.
Welcome back to Texas, everybody. First half of our doubleheader, Wednesday Night Baseball on ESPN. Gary Thorne, Dave Campbell. Saw the line there for the first 3. 1, 2-0 for the Rockies, 0-2-0 for the Rangers. As we go to the 4th inning, good pitching matchup right now. Burkett has walked 1, struck out 3. John Thompson, the rookie right-hander, Colorado, no walks and 1 strikeout. Burkett will go to work here against the meat of this Rockies order. Walker, Galarraga, and Bichette. Harry Walker called out on strikes. His first time out, chasing down that elusive 400 mark, and fouls it back.
Had a good pitch to hit. Earlier in the week, Walker, in 3 successive at-bats, hit a bases-loaded single and 2 consecutive home runs. Looked like he was getting locked in. Hadn't had a hit since. Never can figure.
And misses down low with it. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, Walker averaging 2.88 bases per year. The year Ruth did it, he averaged 3 bases a game. So Walker is close to that pace. 457 total bases by the Bambino in 1921.
Burkett's pitch, a slider, came inside on him as he stepped into it. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Ruth played 152 games that year. Walker missed 5 starts in the first half, so if he averaged that, it'd be the same.
Fly ball into that jet stream in right center. Very high. He just missed. But he got underneath that one, and Gonzalez brings it in, and Walker is the first out here, and an 0 for 2 for him here in the 4th inning. 1 down.
Well, in the last 3 games, Larry has hit a lot of pop-ups on pitches he thinks he should have hammered. And you see his reaction. He can't believe it. But, I mean, even the best go into slumps, and that's why it's so darn tough to hit 400.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You get the pitch to hit, and you don't always hit it solidly.
And he will not get the All-Star break off, of course, heading to the All-Star event. Andres Galarraga, the slow chopper to short. Domingo Cedeno running, throw just in time to Lee Stevens.
I'll tell you,
Galarraga got down there in a hurry.
Yeah, with the exception of Eric Young, John Burkett has turned this Rockies lineup inside out. They have not had any good swings at him at all, the way he's changed speeds and located. Eric Young with a double and triple is the only guy who's reached.
Burkett is a ground ball pitcher when he's on with that fastball that sinks. And he's getting ground ball outs here in this game. 2 down here in the 4th inning. Dante Bichette, a pop-out victim his first time up. 7 for 32 and 1 home run lifetime against Burkett. And he takes the pitch down and away, ball 1.
I wouldn't think the Rockies are getting stage fright, but this is their 3rd national television appearance. They got beat 10-1 and 2-0 previously. I know they'd like to show off their muscles, but they're not doing much with it.
I suspect opposing pitchers probably have a little more to do with that than we do. Right?
Well, Alex Fernandez and Ishmael Valdez pitched
Yep.
pretty well against them, and Burkett changing speeds very well tonight.
2-0 the count on Dante Bichette, coming in with a 308 average, 12 home runs, 64 RBIs for him. You see how Burkett's worked in and out to these hitters in this game, trying to keep them off stride, not getting their arms out over the plate, especially here in the middle of this order. He falls behind here, though, 3-0. 3-0 delivery. Green light on. That's going to be a foul ball. Just missed down the left field line.
Well, John Burkett, one of those guys, and then this is something the Texas Rangers organization isn't going to talk about, but to be quite honest with you, with a $52 million payroll, if they have the month of July like they did in June and fall 11 or 12 out, there could be some guys available, and Burkett could be one of them. Ken Hill, whose contract is up, Bobby Witt, Will Clark, Dean Palmer, any of those guys might be able to be had. But this is going to be a key month for this club, the Rangers.
And that one's going to go the other way, only it's going to be a fair ball. Gonzalez giving chase. Bichette on his way to second base. Ball gets by Gonzalez, but Bichette will hang on with a double. Dante Bichette fouled one off down the left side, then took one the other way, and he's on at second base with 2 away, his 15th double.
Pretty good hitting by Bichette. I mean, he probably figured Burkett, after he came in on the 3-1 pitch, wasn't going to do it again. I think Dante just committed to going to the other way. He's a very intelligent hitter.
So he's on at second base. All 3 of the hits off Burkett have been extra base hits. The double and triple by Young, and now the double by Bichette. Vinny Castilla popped out his first time up. RBI opportunity, 4-game hit streak for Castilla as he stands in. Not going to hold the runner at second base, and a strike with a slider on the outside corner. Talk about players who might be available. As incredible as it may seem, the man behind the plate for Texas, Pudge Rodriguez, may be available. They may not be able to sign him. For one thing, he wants more money than they want to pay. They already negotiated before this year and could not come to an agreement. There are rumors I tried to confirm tonight that, in fact, the Arizona Diamondbacks want him desperately and are willing to pay the price he wants. The Rangers organization would not say no to that. They said, we want him, we're going to try and sign him, but it's a big but. Here's the 1-1. That one's foul back.
I don't think his demands are that tough. He just said he wants what's equal to the national debt.
But you have to remember the national debt is coming down.
Yeah.
Under the Democratic administration. Rodriguez with a 1-ball, 2-strike count. 2 down.
To say that Gary and I are political adversaries would be putting it mildly.
Not adversaries, just different sides of the fence. You refuse to believe the truth, and I see it as it is. The 1-2 pitch tapped back to the mound. I expect supper at the White House for this one. No runs, a double, runner left on at second base. Colorado leads it 1-0. As they say in the business, if you don't get the big yes, we want him, what you get is a little wavering. Johnny Oates, Pud Rodriguez, will he be back?
If this was a basketball team, we could let him name his figure, and we'd make sure we got him the ball in the last 30 seconds, a la Michael Jordan. We can't do that in baseball. So I think that the ownership group will make every realistic effort to re-sign Ivan Rodriguez.
I don't think it's a stretch to say he's the best catcher in baseball since Johnny Bench.
And Johnny Oates said that. Johnny Oates said, I played the bench, saw him. Pudge is right there with him. But it becomes very much a question of money. Swung on and missed on the fastball here by guess who? Ivan Rodriguez.
Well, Pudge, and certainly, I mean, there's a guy in L.A. that doesn't have to take a backseat offensively, and Mike Piazza, and the guy you broadcast in New York, the great all-around catcher as well, Todd Hundley.
Todd Hundley, yeah. There are some good ones.
Sandy Alomar is having a great year.
See, the fans are thinking about it. Sign Pudge. That's why deep center field. Back of that 407 mark. That ball's off the base of the wall. Pudge Rodriguez goes in to second base as McCracken got it in. He's got a double leading off the 4th inning.
Second time a Rockies outfielder has taken a step in. Walker was able to retreat, but that time McCracken false step. I don't think he gets it anyway, but he took a step in and then had no chance. 25th double for Rodriguez. See McCracken miss this ball by a good 5 or 6 strides, so that step in probably did not cost him, but he didn't read it very well.
Rodriguez at least right now tied for second in doubles. Paul O'Neill leads with 26 two-baggers coming into today's play. O'Neill of the Yankees. Rodriguez right there in 2 baggers and a leadoff double here in the 4th. So the leadoff man on. They've had the leadoff man on now a couple of times in the 4 innings. Off Thompson. And the middle of the order coming up. Greer takes the fastball, strike on the outside corner. Nobody out.
Rusty's going to look for a ball he can get on the right side of the diamond and try to get Pudge to third for Gonzalez. Good discipline by Greer as Thompson went away from him. He wants to be a little more selective.
Greer 266 with runners in scoring position. 265 is the team average. And the fastball away this time again. Missed that time. 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-0 lead. Rockies on top. Each team now has 3 hits. The Rockies have stranded a couple. Texas has left only 1 on. This is their first base runner down to second base. Haven't had anybody over to third. Greer waiting. Stays away again. Thompson misses. 2 balls and 1 strike.
A little war of attrition right here. Thompson wants to stay away. Greer wants something in to pull. Thompson's kept 3 away, 1 on the corner.
And he hasn't chased. Misty Greer's not been going after bad pitches here. Thompson's trying to get him to bite on something outside the strike zone. Only has struck out 41 times, drawn 47 walks. Great ratio. And he doesn't bite again. 3-1. So Thompson behind on the count here has not walked a batter in the game. Rusty Greer with a 3-ball, 1-strike count, and Rodriguez on at second base. Three-1 delivery, and it's up high, walking. 2 on, nobody out.
Well, he had the right idea, but when you walk a hitter to get into Juan Gonzalez, who's homered 4 times in the last 4 games, not a good idea. He stayed away from him, but once you got behind 2-1, you had to go after it.
And a dangerous enough situation for Frank Funk to come out and have a word here with his rookie right-handed. And make sure they know exactly what they're going to be working on to Gonzalez. Make a mistake here, and those 2 will be crossing the plate in front of Gonzalez. Rodriguez at second, Greer at first. Thompson has given up 4 home runs, 3 to left-handers, 1 to a right-hander. Gonzalez, right-handed hitter, will stand in here with nobody out. Infield will be looking for the double play, outfield deep. Gonzalez flied out to right field his first time up. They give him the gap in right center. And the pitch is inside for ball.
Thompson made 2 great pitches on Gonzalez the last time up. 2 fastballs in. He tried to go away with a slider, and Juan hit a P that Walker had to go back on. So he's pretty well zeroed in. If he makes a mistake here, it may be time to chuck and duck. He's going to have to make good pitches to get Gonzalez out.
27-year-old MVP from last year, Juan Gonzalez. 1-0 delivery to him, and he's going to get a pitch to hit. 2 pitches inside to Gonzalez, missing 2 balls and no strikes.
You know, it's a situation where you have to kind of trust your stuff. You can't pinpoint. You got to throw a strike because Gonzalez right now is in a mode where he's not chasing bad pitches. When he's in a slump, he'll chase a lot of pitches down and away.
With 58 RBIs in 56 games so far. 2-0 delivery to him. He got 1 to hit. Line drive center field. McCracken has to play it on a hop. Runner's got a late start. Bases are loaded. A line drive, and Gonzalez is on, and with nobody out, the Rangers have loaded him up against John Thompson.
Now Gonzalez gets jammed, but the ball's up, and he inside outs it in front of McCracken, who was playing him deep. So Mr. Thompson's got his work cut out for him now with the sacks juiced and nobody out.
And Lee Stevens, as so often happens in these games, getting a rather unscheduled start for Will Clark at first base. Stevens has been one of their best with runners in scoring position this year. Batting .306, well above the team average. Bases loaded, nobody out. Strike on the outside corner to Stevens.
Well, it was Lee Stevens and Mike Sims who really carried this club in the month of April. With Gonzalez out, Clark missed some time. And you mentioned that Texas played well in the month of April. Stevens a big part of it.
See, he has had 1 grand salami in his career. 0-1 count to him. Colorado's 1-0 lead in jeopardy. Foul back. Thompson comes back and gets ahead on the count here, 0-2.
Wade Burkett's in a groove right now. For the youngster Thompson, he could be pitching for his ball game right here.
Stevens has hit into 8 ground ball double plays. There's Will Clark getting the night off after the late arrival home, and Will's bat slowing down. Johnny Oates felt he needed a rest. 2-strike count. Stevens singled his first time up. Goes after it, and it'll be caught by Walt Weiss. A soft line drive on an inside-out swing. Bases remain loaded. One away.
Well, Walt started to turn one way and then all of a sudden recognized that he was going to have to turn the body the other way, but a good play by Weiss. That one dumps in. Two are going to score. Even though Greer had to freeze, that ball gets over Weiss's head. It's just going to drop in the outfield.
Walt Weiss, nice play. Bases remain loaded. Rodriguez at third, Greer at second, Gonzalez at first, and here's Dean Palmer. Fielder's choice his first time up. This is where Dean Palmer really struggles with runners in scoring position. He takes a strike. He has never, as a member of this Texas team, put up any kind of number with runners in scoring position. This year hitting .218. Last year he hit .213.
Well, that's it for this year, and sometimes it starts to weigh psychologically on you, too.
Johnny Oates thinks he really presses trying to produce in these situations and makes matters worse. 0-1 count, one down. Thompson got it in, broke the bat, goes underneath his glove. A run will score. The only play is at first. Young has to make it. And it's a 1-1 game on a broken bat roller by Dean Palmer.
No, you put it in play, you never know what might happen. Thompson looked like he was having a little trouble. This ball had very funny spin on it as Palmer inside out at the ball. He gets fisted. Thompson busts off the mound, but he can't get it. And Eric Young's really only got one play to first base. So the Rockies get the ground ball, but no chance for two.
And the ball game's tied at 1 apiece. Both runs in this game have come on ground balls to second base. Not what you'd call blast-a-roonies. Thompson's got a chance to get out of this. He had the bases loaded, nobody out. He pitched very tough to Stevens and Palmer. Now he's got Mickey Tettleton up there and a 1-0 count on Tettleton.
Got an open base, but again, Tettleton hitting less than 100, and Cedeno behind him is 13 for his last 31. I think you have to attack Tettleton here.
Came right at him. Outside part of the plate, got the strike.
And there's a time in Mickey Tettleton's career with a guy like Domingo Cedeno on base, you just point down to first base and give him 4 wide ones. But Mickey has been having problems this year. And again, Cedeno, 3 for 4 last night in Los Angeles. He's the hotter of the 2 hitters.
Tettleton with very few at-bats here so far. 1-1 pitch to him. Breaking ball almost got away. Jeff Reed had to come up and haul that one back in. 2 ball, 1 strike count on Tettleton. They play Tettleton to pull the ball in the outfield. McCracken swung around a couple of steps towards right. Big gap in left center field where Tettleton rarely goes. He will try and crank it down that right field line, though, to that short porch down there. 2 ball, 1 strike count. 2 on, 2 down. Tettleton takes the fastball up high, 3-1. No, he's not chasing either.
What happened to that rule about the pine tar only 18 inches from the knob of the bat?
That looks like it's coated with about 9 layers.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the shine on that.
There's George Brett sitting here somewhere going, what's this?
3-1 count. And Tettleton takes it, and they're loaded again. So the second walk of the game off Thompson, both coming in this inning. And for the second time, Texas has loaded the bases. This time, however, there are 2 away against Thompson. Greer reached on a walk. He's on at third base. Gonzalez a single. He's on at second, and the walk to Tettleton to load him up. And Domingo Cedeno gets the opportunity. 9 for 18 with runners in scoring position this year. Not a lot of chances, but he's gotten it done. Up high to him, ball 1.
Well, Thompson's been missing up. He's going to have to make an adjustment. His pitching coach, Frank Funk's already been out once. His second trip, you got to go to the bullpen, and nobody's warming. So John's got to get the ball down.
Domingo Cedeno working here with a big chance for Texas to take the lead. Ball game tied at 1. Cedeno takes it in the dirt. Good backhand stop by Reed, and it's 2-0.
Over adjustment. He did get it down, but way down. So Jeff Reed, veteran catcher, will come out and try to settle the youngster in. This is where the catcher has to kind of be the pitching coach. He's got to come out, probably know what Frank Funk might say in that situation and relay that message, because Funk's hands are tied right now.
Big moment in this game for John Thompson. He has thrown 22 pitches this inning, and 12 of them have been out of the strike zone. And he's 2-0 here on Domingo Cedeno. 28-year-old, signed as a free agent. Takes the pitch way up high and out, and it's 3 balls and no strikes, and nowhere to put Cedeno. Two away, 3-0. Cedeno taking all the way, strike on the outside corner, 3-1. Will he take another one?
Don Baylor gets frustrated because he doesn't have a strikeout staff. One thing he just hates, like all managers do, the walks.
One here, and it's a run. Not yet. Right down the middle with it, challenging him. He was taking again 3 balls and 2 strikes.
One thing Baylor and Funk try to preach is, hey, you guys got the #1 rated defense in the National League. You got the lowest strikeouts in the league. You've got to make them hit the ball. There's no defense for the base on balls.
3-2, 2 down, bases loaded. Domingo Cedeno waiting. Runners at first and second go. Foul tip. He'll go back. Cedeno up. A minor league player, career minor league player, filling in this shortstop situation. Just got a piece of that one over the top. 3-2. What does he want here? Here's the second sign. He wants the breaking ball. 3-2 the count. Thompson's delivery. Fastball, walks, and a run. 3 walks in the inning, and this one costs him an RBI for Domingo Cedeno on a bases-loaded walk. Texas takes a 2-1 lead.
One of the things that happened to the Rockies when they have lost 3 and now 4 of their starters this year, sometimes the youngsters they've brought up, when things start going bad, they just can't stop the bleeding.
Of all the ways to give them up, as you said, Dave, this will drive everybody crazy. Don Baylor, the manager in particular. 3 walks in the inning. 2 runs are now in. Texas leads 2-1. Here's Buford, grounded out his first time up. And Damon takes that pitch, and it's down and away, ball 1. A real struggle right now for Thompson.
The guy that's a 207 hitter, you get behind in the count, you make him a 307 hitter.
Hitting only 185 with runners in scoring position. He's got 3 on here. And he launches that one to center field, but cracking over, misplayed the ball. It went over his head as he misplayed the ball. 3 runs in, a bases-loaded double. Damon Buford's been telling his coaches, I want to put the ball in the air.
Now, McCracken twice has taken circle routes into the outfield. You see him start sideways going in. That obviously got in that jet stream. And Buford is on his way to third base. And so 2 mistakes by the outfield, 3 by the pitchers. And that's been kind of the Rockies season this year. When they make mistakes, they don't win.
It is a 5-1 lead now for Texas. And a big 2-out, bases-loaded double by Damon Buford. It'll be his 12th double of the year. RBIs 25, 26, and 27. And a strike taken by the 9th man up this inning, the leadoff batter, Mark McLemore, who's continued his hit streak at 11 games with a single in the first inning, grounded out in his other at-bat. 5 runs on 5 hits for the Rangers. Runner at second base, 2 away. Good slider down and in, 0-2.
Well, Thompson has a good slider, but because he was struggling so much with his control, Ellis Burks normally would be in center field, but with a groin muscle, he is on the DL. Thompson hasn't used his slider hardly at all this inning. Now he uses it, but too little, too late.
2-strike count. McLemore takes, and it's down low. We told you about that jet stream that runs here in that right center field area. When a ball gets up in that, it really takes off. And if you're a ball club not used to playing here, as the Rockies, of course, never have, Kraken, we've seen him come in twice on a ball. Walker once on balls hit out there in that right center field area. That one hit in the air the other way towards the gap. Bichette over will haul it in. McCracken retired, but 9 come to the plate, 5 cross it, and Texas has a 5-1 lead. Quentin McCracken on the left there would love to have another chance at that Damon Buford fly ball. I'm not sure he could have caught it anyway, because the ball was really hit hard.
Well, it was, but when he ran kind of sideways, that took away any kind of a chance.
Yep.
Again, as we look at it, when we pick up McCracken, he's going to be breaking straight over, and then all of a sudden he realizes he's got to go back, and too late then.
3 runs came in on that double, and a 5-1 lead as we go to the 5th inning here in Arlington. Reed, Vanderwall, and Weiss, as John Burkett 1 and 4 in June, trying to get the W's, got some runs to work with here. Remember, Colorado's facing these pitchers. Teams have hit the hardest in the majors, but in this game, you would not know it by the way he's worked so fine.
Yeah, one of the things you look at in pitching, the comparison between Burkett and John Thompson today.
Just out of the reach of Palmer into left field. Greer will be up with it, and a leadoff single for Reed, who's got his 7-game hit streak going.
There's no question. If you had Major League scouts looking at these two guys, they would say John Thompson has the far better stuff. But it's not always the guy with the best stuff at the Major League level that wins. Burkett, much better control and much better at changing speeds.
And that'll be hit number 4 now for the Rockies. Their first single, 2 doubles, a triple, and now a single for them. John Vanderwall, the designated hitter, takes the pitch down low for a ball. The Rockies will try and come right back here and answer it. Burkett to look over to first base. Runner not going anywhere. Foul back by Vanderwall, the DH. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Burkett in his last 3 starts, 11 hits in his last one against Seattle, and 12 each against Colorado the time before, and Minnesota the game before that. So in the last 3 starts, 16 runs on 35 hits in 21 innings off Burkett. Can he settle down and make this a comeback game is the question now. He's got the runs to work with.
Well, he's making it look like it so far. Chuck Finley yesterday, coming into Coors Field, had been giving up an awful lot of hits and runs, particularly home runs, and he was able to tame Coors Field yesterday.
Finley, I thought, had one of those great comments. Why was he successful in Coors and all the others can't do it? He said, I don't know anything about this field. This could be a double play. Mercy was that hit hard. They'll turn the 2 in a hurry on that one. McLemore, Cedeno, Stevens, 2 down. That ball was stung. Want to remind you, July 4, we've got a triple-header coming your way on ESPN. 3 o'clock, Pittsburgh, the surprise team of the National League, among very few, will take on St. Louis. 7 o'clock, the Yankees do battle against Toronto. And then at 10, Seattle taking on Anaheim. And we will welcome Reggie Jackson to the broadcast booth for that 10 o'clock game. 2 down, bases are empty. Randy Johnson will be scheduled to be on the mound in that ball game on the 4th for Seattle. 1-0 delivery and a fastball in for a strike. Walt Weiss up. He is a strikeout victim. 1 of 3 picked up by Burkett so far. 2 down, bases empty here in the 5th inning. And the fastball misses down low. 2-1. Texas here at home, 23 wins, 17 losses this season. Check that. 21 wins and 20 losses this season. They had 50 wins here last year, which was second in the home record of the team they're playing tonight, Colorado. Teams who are 1 and 2 in the majors.
Well, one of the charms of baseball, one of the frustrating things of baseball, Vanderwall hits an absolute rope. It's a double play. Dean Palmer, with the bases loaded last time, got severely jammed, barely made it to the pitcher's mound, but it was only 1 out, and it kept the inning alive. And
a strike on the inside corner gets him. So despite a leadoff single, Colorado can do nothing with it. Burkett now has 4 strikeouts. See the folks on hand here in Texas, where they are averaging some 37,500 plus for their home attendance. Obviously coming off that Western Division championship last year. Did not hurt anything when they won 90 games, 90 and 72 last year. They are 39 and 41 coming into this ball game, reaching the midway point. They went through the order last time up, so Rodriguez leads it off again. He had a double to start the inning off, and he goes after the inside fastball from John Thompson and fouls it away. 1 for 2 for Pudge Rodriguez. Batting second in the order, Greer and Gonzalez will follow. John Thompson with the 0-1 delivery, and that's going to be a base hit into right field. Took it the other way. Larry Walker. And a lead-off single here in the 5th inning. Rodriguez 2 for 3.
Rodriguez now with 113 hits, major league record for a catcher who has played at least 100 games. Joe Torre and Ted Simmons 193, so he's certainly on pace for that.
On a pace for 225 hits.
Not too shabby. Will the August heat get him? It has not in the past.
Piles up the games behind the plate. He's on at first base. Here's Greer, who walked and scored in the 4th. Thompson walked 3 batters in that 4th inning, and all 3 of them came across the plate. One of the great adages of baseball and pitching. Oh, those walks.
Well, especially when you have the staff that has the fewest strikeouts in the major leagues. You know when you walk people, you're going to have balls put in play, and then you're kind of at the mercy of whether they're at your fielders or not.
Rusty Greer outside of third. No play for Castilla on that one. A 1-ball, 1-strike count.
Well, Rusty, we mentioned earlier, probably one guy who certainly may have gotten snubbed in the All-Star selections. He was not picked as a reserve. Gonzalez either. But this time, the day after or the day of the selections, you start talking about guys maybe more who didn't make it than who did make it.
And inevitably that happens year after year. There are always those who are so close. One of the problems, of course, every team must have a representative, so that sometimes takes up a couple of slots with teams that really do not have an all-star caliber player.
Yeah, Roger did.
Yeah. Both of those will be at the All-Star game playing against one another again. 2-ball, 1-strike count here on Greer. With 332 last year. Takes the strike. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, I'm sure I'll even have some omitted from my list, but Greer, Gonzalez, Vinny Castilla in this game, Scott Erickson, Kevin Apier, Jeff Kent, Bresolanic. Oh, Billy Wagner with Houston, 55 strikeouts in 30-some innings.
Not going.
Rollers, Francisco Cordova, Tony Clark, John Olerud, Brad Radke, John Franco. That was just kind of a partial list of guys that did not make it, but you certainly could make a case for it.
Yeah. And each of the hometown teams will.
Oh, absolutely. 7 Braves made it.
Yeah. 2-2 delivery. There's no question in the voting, of course, being done by the fans, that the exposure of the winning teams makes a huge difference. Teams that are in postseason play, teams that win the World Series or make it that far, guys who put up enormous numbers like Walker getting tons of publicity and deservedly so.
I can't believe he didn't make it.
Yeah.
Well, he made it. Oh.
Runner goes. Swung on a miss. Reed throws it into center field. Rodriguez is on his way to third base. A stolen base and an error on Jeff Reed, the catcher, after the strikeout to Greer. Puts a runner at third base and 1 away.
Jeff Reed began the season throwing out 11 of his first 15. We talked about John Thompson and that slide step. He didn't use it there, and Reed tried to hurry the throw, and this is an airmail shot here, folks. Wilt Chamberlain, no chance to catch that one. So, stolen base and an error. Reed saw that Thompson didn't use the slide step there and then tried to hurry his throw and launch.
5 for 6 in stolen bases for the Texas catcher, who went 5 for 5 last year in that department. Now Gonzalez, with one away, gets the RBI chance, and Colorado will move the infield in. This is like moving the howitzer up and the body's closer to it. Thompson's pitch is a strike on the inside corner.
You might see some of those infielders pulling out their cell phone to call their insurance agent to see if their dental insurance is paid up.
That's all you need, is to give Gonzalez the advantage of the drawn-in infield. But they've got to try and cut it off here. A 5-1 Ranger lead already. Gonzalez, chance to add to his RBI numbers. Great jam pitch right there by Thompson. Gonzalez has singled and flied out. Jerry DiPoto is working in the Colorado bullpen. There is DiPoto. And he's ready if needed. 2 strikes, 1 away. Rodriguez at third base, infield drawn in. Thompson again, as he's done all night, stays inside. Busts him in the kitchen, misses. 1 ball, 2 strike count. He has walked 3, struck out 2. Texas with 5 runs on 6 hits off John Thompson so far.
Youngster's going to be a good pitcher, but sometimes the growing pains are tough.
And that one to right, not deep. Walker moving in, deep enough to score. Rodriguez tags. Here comes Walker's throw to the plate, off the mark and not in time. Sacrifice fly and an RBI for Gonzalez, and the Texas Rangers take a 6-1 lead. Baseball elsewhere. Kyle Ravitch.
Hi, Gary. Talk about guys on the All-Star team, guys who played in the past. Carter's been in 5 of them, not going this year, but this is an All-Star swing with 2 aboard. He drives in 3, and it is now 5-4. Blue Jays over the Expos. He'd been 0 for 9 with 7 Ks in the series, Gary.
And the bragging rights already sustained there, Carl, in Canada, where Montreal has won 2 against Toronto. 2 down here. And a big cut and a miss by Lee Stevens.
Larry Walker is still one of the best throwers in the National League, but he does it with accuracy and a quick release. The power in the throwing arm, not quite what it was prior to shoulder surgery 4 years ago. He's never gotten that great cannon back, but he still throws well.
Up the middle. That's going to be a base hit. Stevens is on. A big hopper up the middle out of the reach of Eric Young. And the inning stays alive for the Rangers, who pick up their 7th hit of the game. 2 down, Stevens on at first. By the way, Gonzalez, who got that RBI, now has 59 runs batted in on the season for Texas. So 59 RBIs, and this is 57th game. Runner at first, 2 away. Dean Palmer, an RBI and a ground ball out, and it's hit into a fielder's choice 0 for 2 on the late swing, fouls it off.
Well, Dean has gotten jammed in every at-bat so far tonight, so obviously he's not locked in with his timing. The key play in the game, though, was that little nubber he hit back towards John Thompson. It was a little pop fly, but it was just to Thompson's left and carried out to Eric Young on about 6 hops. Thompson catches that ball, he might double somebody off and keep the Rangers scoreless, but that's ifs and buts.
Little things that make a difference in a game, and you're right, Dave. That was one of them. Dean Palmer swings through that one. John Thompson had only 2 base runners against him in the first 3 innings. There have been 8 on in the last inning and 2/3. As the Texas offense has opened up, they batted around in the 4th inning, scoring the 5 runs, 3 hits, 3 walks. They've added a run here. Pitches down low, ball and 2 strikes.
Well, I've used this number before, and I thought it was very significant because we always talk about young pitchers, good stuff, but growing pains. Last year in the major leagues, Andy Pettit was the only pitcher in the major leagues under 27 years of age that won more than 15 games. It takes time at this level.
1-2 delivery. Big cut by Palmer, and he's gone. So Thompson gets his third strikeout, but another run in on a couple of hits, one left on. It is a 6-1 Ranger lead. Young will lead it off. Walker up third. Beautiful night for a game here in Texas. Clear skies. Temperature up probably now, still in the high 80s. And the Ranger fans, a lot to cheer about. 6-1 lead. Gary Thorne, Dave Campbell, welcome back. John Burkett goes back to work against Colorado here in the 6th inning. Eric Young leading it off. Young's got a shot at making the rounds here. He's already picked up a triple and a double in this game. And that one to short. Domingo Cedeno looks to make that off-balance running throw. And Young with good speed is retired. One away here in the 6th inning. One down. McCracken and Larry Walker due up here for Colorado. I want to remind you, coming up on ESPN tomorrow, our primetime special. What a group of long ball hitters. The 500 Home Run Club. You will see that at 9:30 Eastern and 6:30 Pacific. Roy Firestone sitting down with all 11 members of the 500 Club. Williams, Jackson, Robinson, McCovey, Killebrew. What a group. All together one time.
Am I in there?
Your name was down here with an asterisk. Is there a reason for that?
Well, I hit 500 counting minor league batting practice. And
well, there you go.
Major league batting practice.
They didn't say where they were hit or when. Quentin McCracken up. The answer to your question is no. They're not on there. 1 ball, 1 strike. But there are lots of us not on there. More than there are on there. Burkett got it off the fist, off the mound. Cedeno can't hang on. That'll be an infield single. And McCracken's on with his first hitter, 1 for 3, a single with 1 down in the 6th inning.
Now, Domingo got a good bounce off the mound as that allowed him to get over and get to it, but got a little excited when he got his glove on it. Had it, and then he went to transfer it to the throwing hand, and gets that high hop off the mound that allows him to range over and get it, and then just, oops, called it an error.
That was an official score too soon. I thought that'd be a base hit. It's not. Sorry, Quentin, can't help you on that one. The error charged on Cedeno. Broken bat. Another chance. Cedeno one. Relay. McLemore not in time. Larry Walker just prevents that from being a double play ground ball. Fans didn't think he did.
I thought he was out, too. Larry broke his bat, so he didn't get a real good release from the batter's box. Well, Cedeno to McLemore, and let's see. Can't tell from that angle.
All we need to know is Larry Barnett said safe at first base, and that'll cover it all.
Close.
So 2 down, and that will bring up Galarraga with a runner on at first base and Larry Walker. Andres Galarraga's popped out and ground out, 8 for his last 24. Burkett's pitch to him. This is outside. So the Texas Rangers add another error. We talked about that at the top of our broadcast, and that is going to be their 49th error, 1 shy of the 50 errors they committed all last year. And it has resulted in on earned runs, rather. They committed 86 errors last year, 65 errors. But on earned runs, they have given up 48 on earned runs already this year and 50 total last year. So the defense, to talk to any manager, when the defense falls apart, that really bothers managers.
Well, about his pitching staff, too. You know, we've focused so much, maybe the last 3 or 4 weeks, on Larry Walker. Andres Galarraga, 150 RBIs last year. First man to do that since 1962. He's on a pace for 164 this year. If he has over 150 this year, first man to go back-to-back since Lou Gehrig, 1936 and 37.
And he certainly is on a pace to get that done this season. Galarraga, we're going to have a number of ball players who are going to have high RBI numbers. Ironically, in a season where home run numbers and runs are actually down. Strike taken on the inside corner when compared to last year.
Well, you see through 83 games, Gary back in 31. Last year, there were 130 RBIs accomplished by 10 guys. That's the first time since 1969 more than 2 had done it.
That one popped up outside of first base. Stevens will give chase. And we'll run out of room. That will be a ball and 2 strikes on Andres Galarraga with Larry Walker on at first. Rangers leading it by a score of 6-1 in this game. Galarraga, if you extend that pace now, it's 164 RBIs that he would have. Well behind Hack Wilson's all-time record of 190, which is an amazing number set back in 1930. Hackett had 68 RBIs in August that year.
I think the wind was blowing out at Wrigley.
Gale Force. Throw down, and Walker just gets, but it don't matter. Strikeout at the plate on Galarraga in any event. That was going to be the 3rd out. So Rodriguez is just practicing, and we wanted to practice calling the throw in case some inning it happens to matter. If you believe that, if we got some desert land for you that's situated on a lake. Galarraga's gone. Rodriguez practice toss. Nice mess.
Well, John Thompson had 1 bad inning, and it cost him. 3 walks all came in that 4th inning when he surrendered 5 of the 6 runs. He certainly showed good stuff, but he was not able to get that key 3rd out in the 3rd inning. Rangers lead by 5. And Jerry Dipoto is a new pitcher for the Colorado Rockies, the former New York Met, Cleveland Indian. Been pitching very well of late. He's gone 13 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings. He had a horrible late April and mid-May. He has always been a sinker-slider type pitcher. He decided to try something different, go with a 4-seam fastball, the rider, to complement that sinker and his slider, and he has pitched brilliantly for the Rockies of late.
So Jerry Dipoto will come on in relief here and try and keep Texas pinned where they are, as they have picked up 6 runs in the last 2 innings on 5 hits and those 3 walks. Tettleton will lead it off. Tettleton, Cedeno, and Buford, the bottom part of the order for the Texas Rangers, looking for their 40th win of the season. Could get them back to just 1 under 500. Colorado with a chance to gain a game on the Giants, who lost today. They're trailing 6-1 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And Dipoto's pitch is away. Ball 1 to Tettleton, who walked and scored in the 4th inning and flied out. Tettleton has had over 100 walks in a season 5 times in his career. For a guy who is hit with power, he has taken a lot of pitches. Dipoto, the pitcher's got a cover, makes the play as Young gets it over there, and Tettleton's the 1st out here in the 6th inning. The 4-1 put out, and Dipoto will take his time getting back here to catch his breath. One down, nobody on, and Domingo Cedeno coming up to face Dipoto. Cedeno drew a walk. He also scored 4th inning. His walk came with the bases loaded, so he picked up an RBI. Rounded out to short, his 1st at bat. Switch hitter takes the pitch inside for a ball. Cedeno is not the answer at short. He is a career minor league player. We said, getting playing time while they continue to look. The question that Texas has got to answer is whether or not they will go out and try and get ball players to make them a winner this year, if they feel as though they're still in the contest here as we get towards the end of July, or you go the other way and have that fire sale we talked about and try and pick up some young prospect players for some stars.
Catch 22 for Doug Melvin right now.
A very tough decision, and probably will be, because this team probably will be close enough. They're 8 games out now, and I would think probably for the rest of this month they'll be 8, somewhere between 5 and 8 games out probably.
Well, I don't expect Seattle to continue that 20-7 pace that they played in the month of June, but I still think they're the dominant team in that division.
Yeah. Line drive to short. Walt Weiss right there, not hit very hard, and there are 2 away. 2 down, bases are empty with Buford coming up. We remind you, ESPN Sunday Night Baseball game of the week, a West Showdown. as Ken Griffey and the Mariners top spot in the division. They'll be taking their offensive showcase to Southern California to try and hold the second-place Angels. Jim Edmonds leads the Angels against the Mariners on ESPN. Sunday night, game of the week, 8 o'clock Sunday. A big double picked up in the 4th inning by Buford. Cleared the bases. He's 1 for 2, and he got 3 RBIs. The only base runner left stranded in that big inning. Takes it down and away. Damon Buford won't mind that. Among the best and the worst of June, he was in that worst category. Among the worst 10 averages, hit only 200 for the month of June. Gone along with about the way the season's gone for him. 2-0 pitch, and he pops that one up. Galarraga, Reed. Jeff Reed, the catcher, wants it and gets it. So a 1-2-3 inning for Jerry DiPoto coming in out of the bullpen. Prospect right there, right behind that man with a hat. Welcome back, everybody. Gary Thorne, Dave Campbell. Interesting ballpark. Rangers here at home leading 6-1. In the outfield, they meant to replicate 4 different ballparks by the way they designed it, including Fenway Park in Boston with that hand scoreboard down there. Tiger Stadium and the overhang and the big roof in right. Center field, Kansas City, the green grass, and then the white facade of Yankee Stadium in the office building area out there. 4 ballparks represented here in Texas. Interesting. Yeah, it's a good idea.
I had another thought, and this is not to denigrate Texas or the Rangers, but, you know, they talked about enclosing that area in center field so as the wind would not be such a factor. The other thing is most of the new stadiums have some kind of, you know, beautiful skyline or something, whether it be Camden Yards downtown or the Rocky Mountains at Coors Field. Basically, we're out in the flatland. There's anything to look at. There's no city skyline, so that's not too bad an idea to enclose it off just for that reason.
Now, with that height of that center field area, you're not going to see anything out there. If you could, you'd see the Six Flags amusement park. And the big swings are out there. I actually like the old ballpark for one reason. Dante Bichette is up there, by the way. And the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes on Bichette as we go to the 7th inning. The old ballpark, which, as I said earlier, is only about a parking lot away. Ground ball down to first. Good scoop made by Stevens. Burkett covers, and Bichette is retired. You used to be able, from the press box, to look out down the left field line out and over and see the swimming pool at the Marriott Hotel.
Where you logged many hours.
Now, there were some interesting shots taken by the camera people who worked down that left field line and turned the camera the other way. We have no view here except out there, which is fine. But it's not like 10:30 at night when folks would want to go out and take a little dip on a hot Texas night. And the camera people would take some shots over there, some of which you saw if you watched, and many which you didn't.
Keep going.
Dean Palmer makes the throw. No, I want to work some more. Nice scoop made by Stevens. And Castilla's retired. He's 0 for 3. And there's 2 down here in the 7th inning.
Well, the storyline of this game has been the veteran pitcher has been on his game, hitting his spots, changing speeds. Rockies have really only hit about 4 balls hard in the game against the youngster, who's going to be a terrific pitcher, but got himself in trouble, couldn't extricate himself in the 4th, and that basically was the ball game.
2 down, nobody on, 7th inning. Reed, the catcher for Colorado, takes a strike on the outside corner. Hard to believe that we're looking at a John Burkett that teams are hitting .338 against and getting more hits off him than anybody else. If he pitches this way the second half of the season, he will make that decision the Ranger front office has to make even more difficult. Because John Burkett pitching like this will help keep these Rangers in the race.
Well, again, his career, he's 24 games over 500. 8th year in the big leagues, never has been on the DL. He just gives you 200 innings every year.
And he's bringing it on right now. That is the 6th strikeout of the game for Burkett. He retires the side in order. Here at the ballpark in Arlington, Texas, it's 7th inning stretch time, and right now, the home team's got the fans up and has given them something to sing about.
Ballpark
looking out into the pool. But welcome back, everybody. Gary Thorne, Dave Campbell, and the Rockies struggling here against a guy who's putting on a show on the mound, John Burkett.
Well, John Burkett, again, I mean, he's a guy that's going to throw strikes, and if he can change speeds and locate, he's going to make hitters look rather foolish, and he's on his game tonight. There's no question about it.
Yeah, he's really pitching well. However, this Colorado attack, never count him out with the offensive crush they've got if they can get somebody on base. Jerry Dipoto will go back to work here. It'll be his second inning out of the bullpen. McLemore batting at .240 on the season. Texas Rangers, top of the order. Rodriguez will be due up, and then Greer.
Larry Walker has not gone back-to-back games this year without a hit. I'm sure his average has probably slipped below 400. He figures to get one more at bat tonight against John Burkett.
1 ball, 1 strike count. And Dipoto's fastball rings in on the inside corner to him. It's been a relatively tough night for Al Clark, with the players from both teams turning around and questioning the strike zone that he has.
Well, he's calling the inside pitch, which I like, because pitchers have to pitch in.
Foul that one off, and a ball and 2 strikes.
And again, a lot of great hitters will say, if you're ever going to argue the inside strike, because you can't get your arms extended on that one. If they're calling the ball away, you can always dive in and hit it.
And as all players say, it's up to pitchers and hitters to know the umpire who's behind the plate in any given game. Makes life a whole lot easier for everybody. And that umpire is consistent, and you know what it's going to be. They check at third. Yes. Dan Morrison says he did go around. 1 away as McLemore's retired. Foul. Ravitz, what you got?
Hi, Gary. Well, you guys are talking about teams, wild card races, perhaps teams willing to make moves. Maybe both the Indians and Astros will do something as the season goes on. On this play, all the way to the wall it goes. Triple by Mike Hampton, scores 2. Astros trying to get 1 of 3 in this series, Gary.
And the American League Central car looks like this. Cleveland on top of Chicago right now by 3. Milwaukee, Kansas City, even Minnesota still hanging in that Central Division. Gary Dipoto and his pitches outside to Ivan Rodriguez.
Still don't think there's only one team in the American and National League Central over 500. Cleveland.
Amazing.
Nobody
4 teams in the National League East above.
I know. Just ain't fair sometimes, you know it?
No one said it was going to be fair. Grounded down to third and foul by Rodriguez, who's picked up a single, double, and 3 at-bats and scored twice.
I remember Doug Rader when he managed in Hawaii. Good play by a fan. Tim Flannery, a guy who went on to become one of San Diego's most popular players and their third base coach. He got sent down, and he really shouldn't have, but it was a roster thing. He walked up to Rader, and Rader said, "What's wrong?" He says, "It isn't fair." And Rooster said, "You want to name some things that are?"
Yeah.
Flannery said, "Okay, I got your point."
Got the point. That would be a big problem. Dipoto misses outside with that pitch to Rodriguez. And the count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. Third in the league in that average department as he continues to chase it down. He's had a good 3 games against Colorado as he's picked up 8 hits and 12 at-bats against Rocky pitchers. Dipoto with that slider down and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
The other thing that happened to Jerry is when he decided to come up on top and throw that 4-seam fastball, it also got his arm up on the slider, so he was getting some good downward movement on it. When he was throwing the sinker slider kind of 3/4, his slider was flat all the time. So that adjustment he made, kind of out of desperation, has really turned his year around.
Any middle relief for any ball club is a huge advantage in Major League Baseball in this day and age. It is one of the toughest positions to fill. Rodriguez chops at the third base. Vinny Castillo's got it. Makes the running throw to Galarraga. Rodriguez is the second out here in the 7th inning. So Dipoto's retired all 5 that he's faced so far since coming out of the pen for Thompson.
Again, watch his arm position. It is more on top now as Jerry is getting on top and driving down. Prior to that, back in May, he had a much lower arm angle, and that tends to flatten your breaking ball out.
2 down, and the base is empty. And a chopper by Greer, played there by Young, and a good inning. 6 in a row retired as DePoto sets them down. Colorado, they got to find some power as we go to the 8th. They're down. And now it's time for the Kelly Springfield Tire key plays of the game.
Bases loaded. Rockies with a 1-run lead. Palmer hits this little ball that just gets by John Thompson. They do throw out the runner, but that kept the inning alive. Then with the bases loaded and 2-1, Damon Buford went down and got a low fastball. Remember, we said guys with long swings can hit low pitches. He went down. McCracken misjudged it, and that are your Kelly Springfield key plays of the game. 5-run turnaround for the Rangers.
And a 6-1 lead as we go to the 8th inning here at the ballpark with the Rangers on top. John Burkett has gone the distance in this ball game. His best 2 outings. He pitched at Kansas City on April 16, worked 7 2/3 innings, no runs on 9 hits, and got a 2-0 win. And you note these 2 starts were good ones early. May 12 against Cleveland, he went 8 innings, gave up a run on 7 hits, and won that ball game 4-2. His line tonight is right there with those 2 appearances. He's pitched 8 innings on 3 separate occasions this year.
By the way, in case you're wondering, why would I be an expert on guys with long swings that could hit the low pitch? That's about all I could hit. I had a long swing. I could hit the low fastball away from me.
1 ball, 2 strike count.
See, experience does pay off.
It does. They say great artistry often comes from pain.
Failure.
Okay.
Why do you think most of the managers in big league baseball were lousy players? If you're going to stick around, you had to study the game. I mean, guys like Tommy Lasorda and Sparky Anderson, Gene Mauch, Johnny Oates was kind of a middle of the pack. Now, Don Baylor was an MVP.
That one fouled off outside of third. There'll be no play on that. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Vanderwall, the designated hitter. Weiss, and then the top of the order, Eric Young to follow.
Tony La Russa, Jim Leland. Jim Leland never got out of Double-A ball. La Russa, before he hurt his shoulder, was a pretty good prospect, but success comes out of failure.
Yeah. Knowledge. Grounded slowly to short. Cedeno. Boy, he does love to make that off-balance throw, but he gets it there. 1 down. We'll be on balance with Carl Ravitch. Carl.
Hi, Gary. This guy's been on balance since he came into the league. Always threatening to break out of the All-Star team. Mike Lansing of the Expos, the second baseman. Down the line and left he goes. 25th double of the year. It brings in the game-tying run. He was later thrown out trying to steal third at 6-6. Gentlemen.
Whoa. Well, one of my favorite players, Mike Lansing. He is a dirt dog, and he knows how to play, and he is aggressive. He's a good player.
Montreal is really putting it to Toronto, having won the first 2, and then a big lead for the Blue Jays in this game, and they've come back to tie the ball game up.
By the way, dirt dog for me is a great term of affection. Mark Lemke with Atlanta, Blauser, those guys, they're not afraid to get their uniforms dirty, and they know how to play the game.
And play it well. And a fly ball out. Eric quickly 2 down here as John Burkett continues to roll along. Gets Walt Weiss. Weiss is 0 for 3 in the ball game. 2 down, nobody on. Burkett, who has walked only 1 and struck out 6 in the game, looking for his 6th win of the season. Could go 6 and 7 if he can keep these kind of numbers up. Eric Young, leadoff batter. 2 down, nobody on. Triple and a double and a ground ball out. Just a couple of old, what are we?
Dirt dogs.
Dirt dogs.
Sorry, as Peter Pastorelli just wrote us a note. He said, in hockey, they'd be what?
Well, in hockey, they're usually called grinders.
Grinders.
Yeah.
Guys that go into the corner and...
Grinders and wall bangers. And the pitch misses outside. Eric Young, 2 down, no one on here.
Whatever they don't make up with in talent, they do with determination, hustle, and attitude.
Make up for what others have more of in the talent department. 2 ball, 1 strike count on Young. Batting at .302. Second base. McLemore. And he's got it. And another 1-2-3 inning. That's going to be 8 in a row that have now been retired by John Burkett, who's closing in on a complete game, and he's got the runs to work with. The Rangers have the 6-1 lead going to the bottom half of the 8th inning here on their home grass field at the ballpark. This pitching summary brought to you by Sherman-Williams Paint and Wallpaper Stores. And what a pleasant summary it is for one John Burkett.
Gave up a leadoff triple in the ball game to Eric Young, got Quentin McCracken to ground out while the run scored, and really has not been threatened since. He gave up a couple of 2-out doubles, but he has been in control. Very few hard line drive outs. He's just had the Rocky hitters off stride all evening. So a masterful performance by John Burkett tonight.
We'll get our third Colorado pitcher. Jerry DiPoto worked a couple of innings in relief of Thompson, gave up nothing, 1 strikeout. Now Tim Scott, the right-hander, is on in relief.
Scott's been kind of having an adventurous tour of duty lately. He was claimed by the Cincinnati Reds during the offseason on waivers, but then they found out he wanted to go to arbitration. They released him. San Diego Padres signed him. He was released there. The Rockies signed him to a deal where he would go to Colorado Springs for 30 days, but if he wasn't called up within 30 days, he'd be a free agent. 1.2 ERA at Colorado Springs got him the promotion.
So Tim Scott comes on as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning to take on the Rangers. Gonzalez, Stevens, and Palmer will be due up. Rangers had big innings to get their 6 runs. A 5-run, 3-hit 4th inning where John Thompson, who walked 3 in the game, walked them all in that inning, and they all scored. Damon Buford had a big bases-loaded double that cleared him after a bases-loaded walk to Domingo Cedeno brought in a run. Another run that inning came on a Dean Palmer ground ball out. Those are the 6 runs up there, with the other one coming in the 5th inning on the RBI by Gonzalez and a sac fly. Gonzalez 1 for 2 officially, along with that RBI. Leading it off here, taking on Scott. Batting at .273. And Scott's inside to him, 1-1.
One of the things the Rockies will become a legitimate contender every year when they can learn to win some close, low-scoring games. That 1-0 lead. But again, they're 1-26 when they score 3 runs or less. But that young pitching staff's going to have to mature and learn how to win games like that.
You have to do that. No matter how strong your offense may be, you've got to be able to win those 2-1, 3-2 ball games.
And I know the Rockies, their personnel would be saying, well, we've missed Billy Swift and Mark Thompson and Jamie Wright, 3 of our 4 top starters this year. And that's true. But for the young guys especially, that's the learning process, the learning curve. You go back to guys like Maddox, 6-14 his first year, Glavine, 7-17, Steve Avery, 3-14, Randy Johnson. You just don't do it automatically. It takes time.
Nope. 1 ball, 2 strike count here. Gonzalez, Scott's delivery. That'll be down to third, off Castilla's glove, out into shallow left. Big turn made. And Gonzalez will stay there. And the Rangers get the leadoff man on in the 8th inning, and we'll wait and see what they call that one.
Well, this is what the Rockies' projected rotation was, and the bullet point there, Kevin Ritz is the only one still in there. Roger Bailey just DL'd. This is their actual rotation right now. Ritz still in there. That question mark has just been filled. Jamie Wright has been brought up from AAA, and he'll start Friday against San Francisco. But basically, they've missed 3 starters for 2 months. And after that 21-9 start this year, they've really been treading water, about 10 games under 500.
Stevens up there now with a runner on at first, and a base hit was credited to Gonzalez, so he's got a 2 for 3 ball game. Stevens has had a couple of singles in this game. He already with a 2 for 3 and a .285 average. Tim Scott will hold the runner at first base, and a strike call. 8 hits now for the Rangers in the ball game. They are out hitting the Rockies 8-4. The one thing the Rockies have been getting done through the first half of the season, and that's winning on the road. A huge problem highlighted by all of the discussion about the advantage of playing at Coors Field, of course, last year, which is no question to the home run hitting team. It is that. But Colorado's credit, they right now actually are a little better pace actually offensively on the road than they are at home.
Well, the interesting thing, when you look at their road home runs this year, everybody makes fun of the Coors Field or Coors Light Field, but they've hit 62 homers on the road. The 62 homers on the road are more than 6 teams in the National League have hit home or away. So they've got some legitimate power. But like any good hitting team, great pitching will stop them on any given night.
That's right. I find that incredible that their home run frequency on home runs per at-bat is better on the road than it is at home. That's pretty amazing.
Well, the 5 bombers they have in their lineup, Galarraga and Walker, you take Castilla, Bichette, and also Ellis Burks, who's out of there. I mean, if they put it all together and stayed healthy for a year, they could have 5 guys that hit 40 home runs.
That one is going to be a base hit into right field. So the Rangers continue hitting. Stevens has got his 3rd hit of the ball game, 3 for 4. Gonzalez stops at second base, and here in the 8th inning, 2 on and nobody out. Dean Palmer will be coming up to face Tim Scott, who's given up singles to the first 2 batters to face him.
Rockies play the Rangers again tomorrow. Then they go into San Francisco to finish the All-Star break, pre-All-Star break, while the Texas Rangers will host the Oakland A's this weekend here in Arlington.
Texas hoping to gain some ground at home after that month of June. Saw them fall so far behind. They were 16 games over 500 at this time last year. 2 games below 500 starting tonight's game.
You know, every number that's significant statistically, runs per game, team ERA, and defense, all those numbers are down significantly this year.
0-1 the count on Dean Palmer. He's got 2 base runners on, picked up 1 RBI and a ground ball out earlier. Takes the slider down and away to him. 1 ball, 1 strike on Palmer.
And if you want to try to judge things always by statistics, look at the San Francisco Giants, including today's game. They've been outscored by 28 runs this year, and yet they lead the Western Division by 4.5 games.
Go figure, right? You get all those out of your way and big losses.
Yeah, I mean, they lose 16-1 and 14-2, but when they're 29 and 15 in 1- and 2-run games, and that's why they're in first place.
What we were talking about, you can win some of those, you're going to be in the run. 2 ball, 1 strike count as the Rangers try and add to their lead, 6-1 against Scott out of the bullpen. And Palmer pops that one up. There'll be no play on this one. A souvenir for some of the 38,569 on hand here tonight.
Johnny Oates had kind of a bemused look on his face. He knows his team has had problems, but so far tonight, the way John Burkett said has been pitching, he hasn't had to make a single solitary decision after he wrote the lineup card out.
He has not been to bed since yesterday.
That makes sense.
He came home today.
Yeah.
Said my wife was away. I realized if I didn't get some clothes cleaned, I wasn't going to have anything to take for the All-Star game. So I did the wash, took the laundry out. It was 5 o'clock when we got home. I said, why go to bed? So he didn't. If he gets a win, means he may have to stay up another night. Throw will come into the plate for Dante Bichette. Cut off. And it is a 7-1 lead. As Palmer delivers the RBI single, bringing Gonzalez home, moving Stevens down to second base. And still nobody out here in the 8th inning.
Well, that'll help Dean's numbers a little bit with men in scoring position. He finally got a pitch he could handle, as he was not swinging the bat well tonight, but look, he got something down in the zone, and he turned very well on it. He really used his hands on this pitch. Explodes that ball through the left side.
42 RBIs on the season now for Dean Palmer. 2 of those coming in this game tonight. And a 7-1 lead and a 10-hit Texas attack. Mickey Tettleton now. Stevens on at second base. Palmer on at first. And the off-speed pitch from Scott is in for a strike. Tettleton 0 for 2 and a walk and a run scored.
Well, Mickey will be remembered for a lot of things when his career is over, but personally to me, one of the most obscure notices, he's got the best home run trot of any player in baseball.
I like that trot.
Oh, he's got the best one by far.
Well, if he yanks one down that right field line, we may get to see it again here.
He's got those bases measured out, so he never breaks stride. Runs at about a 5/8 pace. Nice running style.
Yeah.
He's got the best home run trot going. Best one since Mickey Mantle.
Mantle, it just came naturally, hitting him and running him out. And Tettleton goes the other way this time. Bichette was moved over to center, has to make the run. He'll haul it in. The runners play it halfway and go back, and there's one away.
Another guy that gets absolutely no style points, but you have to admire, is Matt Williams. When he hits a home run, he just puts his head down and runs around the bases as fast as he can, and just goes in and sits down in the dugout.
Unpretentious.
Mm-hmm.
With runners in scoring position in yesterday's game against the Dodgers, Texas went 0 for 10 All season long, they struggle in that department. Tonight, 3 for 7 with 7 RBIs, highlighted by that big bases loaded double came in that 4th inning by Damon Buford. They've got runners on at first and second here. And a pitch taken for a strike. Domingo Cedeno, 296 on the season. Playing in his 40th game now. Benji Gill had another opportunity to play shortstop for Texas again this year, but again, just not getting the job done, and he didn't stay at it for very long.
And then Billy Ripken took over and was playing very, very well for the Rangers, but he's got a problem with the disc in his back. So Cedeno is the 3rd guy that tried there this year.
1 ball, 1 strike, and 1 down. And the pitch to Cedeno on the inside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Rangers maybe coming out of that offensive hole that they were in. And led by Burkett's pitching in this game. Have the 7-1 lead. Only 4 hits for Colorado, the #1 offense in baseball. Big uppercut taken on that one. Mercy, he's gone. Tim Scott gets the strikeout, and there are 2 down.
Well, Scott comes off speed from the super slow motion and the big uppercut by Cedeno. They see some of that flailing and missing tonight. Joey Hamilton, Jeff Facero next as Seattle visits San Diego in the 2nd game of our doubleheader. And the Mariners are playing great, and Padres have been playing a little better.
Interleague play, of course, continuing. Buford fouls it back. Damon Buford, who had the 3 RBIs on that bases loaded double earlier, is 1 for 3 in the ball game. Batting at just .210 on the season. Former Baltimore prospect who got traded over to the New York Mets did not stick there as they were over-numbered in outfielders. Is he now trying to earn a spot here?
Was he not in the Bonilla deal?
Yes. Takes the pitch inside, and it's the bat that's causing the problems. The offensive numbers have not been good for him. 1 ball, 1 strike on Buford. Tim Scott trying to work his way through this one and give the Rockies 1 more chance. Run added, however, here in the 8th inning. Dean Palmer picking up the RBI. He's at first. Stevens at second base.
Biggest surprise to you in the first half?
Biggest surprise of first half? That's a good question. I would almost have to say that, you know, what I'm thinking is something that would be striking or something, but I think that Montreal and the Pittsburgh Pirates are the 2 biggest surprises to me.
Yeah.
They may not ever go anywhere in postseason. They may, but I think they're just playing tremendous baseball for 2 teams who weren't supposed to do a darn thing.
I agree. And until about a week ago, you could put the Mets in that group.
Yeah. The Mets went to Detroit here, and they were lost again today. Detroit swept the Mets and scored a lot of runs and hit a lot of home runs off the New York Mets. It's the Mets starting rotation, which had a better earned run average and more quality starts than the Atlanta Braves had going into that Detroit series, have now lost that distinction. Maddox today, see that 2-0 win, he shut out the New York Yankees.
Can you imagine if somebody had been out of the country for about a year and came back and saw that scoreboard, they'd go, what is going on here? Yeah. Wait, something happened while I was gone.
The exhibition season still underway. 2 ball, 2 strike count on Buford. Well, exhibition. The interleague play certainly has created some huge interest in some cities. But as expected in some of the cities, and take the Detroit-New York Mets series over the head that time, they didn't do anything.
Well, I mean, obviously,
interest at all.
Yeah, obviously the matchups, the Mets and the Yankees, White Sox, Cubs, Atlanta, Baltimore, that had huge interest down in Atlanta, New York, San Francisco, Oakland. I think when the Rockies went to Seattle with the 2 greatest offensive teams, a lot of interest, but some matchups don't excite the fans too much.
Runners go, and it's outside, and the bases are loaded.
And I hate to pick on our friends in the Central Division, but that seems to be where most of the ones are that aren't creating too much excitement, except at Chicago.
Yeah, and that's why Major League Baseball has got to reconsider, one, whether they're going to continue it, because remember, it's a 2-year experiment. Secondly, if it's going to be successful, you have got to have these yearly matchups of the rivals.
Yeah.
You can't be just rotating on a regular basis, east against east, east against central, east against west, or it's not going to work.
Right.
Because when you get to that third year, you have teams playing each other, and the fans really don't care. Bases loaded. 2 down, 1 run already in. McLemore has had a 1-for-4 leadoff single in the ball game. An 11-game hit streak's got a chance to do some real damage here. Blow the doors off at 7-1 already, and the Rangers on top. And McLemore would like to get some RBIs right here. Strike taken, and he didn't like it. 0-2.
MVP of interleague so far. Got to be Jeff King with Kansas City. 5 homers.
That's
50
yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a very tough call on those MVP numbers. It's going to, like Larry Walker's. Larry Walker going to be able to hit that 400 up around there? I mean, and if he does, should he, for that reason, be an MVP? Center field. That's going to fall in. McCracken will make the play in. 2-run score. McLemore's second hit, 2 RBIs. He brings home Stevens and Palmer. 3 runs in the inning. And it is a 9-1 Texas lead.
Well, Don's starting to come up. I guess he's going to go out, check on Tim Scott, maybe go to his bullpen. He's got activity down there.
So Tim Scott coming on for DePoto, not having any success here this inning, as they have touched him up for the 3 runs on 4 hits and a walk. There are still 2 base runners on with 2 down, and Scott will not be completing this inning. Rangers up 9-1. The Rangers not going away here, even though they've got a 9-1 lead, adding 3 runs in the 8th inning, and will force Tim Scott out of there, and Jeff McCurry will come out of the bullpen.
Curry hadn't done a bad job for the Rockies this year. He got kind of caught in a numbers crunch about a week ago or 3 weeks ago and got sent down to AAA. But you look at his overall numbers, and when you pitch for the Colorado Rockies, anytime you got that ERA under 5, you're doing a pretty good job. And when I think it was Bruce Ruffin had some problems, he's going to have perhaps surgery on that left elbow. They haven't made a final determination. He got called back up, and you know, the Rockies right now, their pitching staff, a minefield of injuries, and the All-Star break can't come too soon for them.
Chance for depleted bullpens to rest, and for starters injured to get back. So McCurry's looking for that one final out here. 8th man up in the inning, Rodriguez, already double single, 2 runs scored, 2 for 4. He's got runners on at first and second. Buford on at second base, good speed. McLemore the same at first. Pudge now batting at .347 for Rodriguez. Curry's delivery to him right off the end of the bat. This is going to be a tough play. No at second. The only place Walt Weiss had a chance was to come back to second base, but he had no chance to get the out on McLemore, and they're loaded again.
A couple of ground balls hitting the right place by the Rangers tonight. That little squibber that Palmer hit in that key 4th inning, and now with Castillo over near the line, Pudge pulls this one, and once it gets past Vinny, Walt's really got no play. He isn't going to get Rodriguez at first, and he doesn't get McLemore at second.
3 for 5 night now for Rodriguez. Bases loaded again. Rusty Greer up. This is the 9th batter up in the inning. Jeff McCurry's pitch hit in the air to left field. Bichette backing up. He's got it, and that will do it. But 3 more runs added in the 8th inning, and the Texas Rangers lead the Rockies 9-1. Rockies final shot, 9th inning. To have you with us here on Wednesday Night Baseball, first half of our doubleheader. Seattle-San Diego will be coming right along. The question now, can John Burkett come away with a complete game win? He has 1 complete game so far this season. John Burkett had 2 complete games last year, 1 with Florida, 1 with Texas. And the pitch is outside as we start the 9th inning.
The Rockies have only had 3 against them this year. Glavine, Schilling, and then Alex Fernandez in the Sunday night game, when that one only lasted 7 innings because of the weather.
Could be 1 out closer right there. One down.
Well, the Rockies 3 times on national television have a total of 2 runs this year. This is the team that is setting records. They became the first National League team since 1953 to score 900 runs, 961, and they're on a better pace than that right now. But as Don Baylor has seen far too often this year, his young pitchers have trouble holding down the fort. And if you have a smart pitcher on his game, the Rockies don't hit very much.
And Larry Walker, the league's leading hitter, has not. His average drops a couple of points below 400 now at 398 with the 0 for 3 he's had tonight, as Burkett has done a number on a guy who has a 400 career average against him coming into tonight's game. Burkett one down and nobody on. And another ground ball to second base. McLemore again. Over to Stevens. 2 down here in the top of the 9th inning.
First time Walker's gone back-to-back hitless all year long. 0 for 4 against Finley yesterday and 0 for 4 against Burkett.
2 away. Bases empty. Andres Galarraga. He too's taken the 0 for. He's had an 0 for 3. Eric Young has had 2 hits in this ball game. 2 of the 4. The big middle of the order shut down entirely by John Burkett. And the fans here in Texas are making some noise for their starter. Foul back, and Burkett's ahead on the count. He has walked 1 and struck out 6 in this game. In Texas. Strike 3 called. He's got it. A complete game win for John Burkett as the Rangers beat the Rockies 9-1.
Well, like a guy in the American League, Bob Tewksbury, when they have their control and change speeds, they can make the best of teams look foolish.
There's your final. Burkett wins it 6-7. Thompson, the loser, 2-6. As Texas beats Colorado in the first of this 2-game set, 9-1. For Dave Campbell and all of our crew, I'm Gary Thorne. Thanks for joining us. More baseball.